If you're newly divorced, have you ever felt like you don't know who you are anymore? You have no idea. You begin to question everything that you ever were so certain of. If so, today's episode is totally for you. We're talking about resetting your identity after divorce. And there are steps to do this, and I will help you get there. So tune in. Are you newly divorced? Have you forgotten who you are, or maybe don't even know who this new version of you is anymore? Well, that's what today's episode is about. It's all about resetting your identity. So I've talked about my GPS method, and I'm really giving you a GPS. If you are a woman who is thinking about divorce, going through a divorce, newly divorced, or a veteran of divorce, it doesn't matter. Sometimes we lose sight of who we are. And this GPS system that I've created is really going to help you navigate through every stage, beginning decision making until dating, until maybe a next marriage, and help you really have all the tools that you need. So the G is for getting clear or grounding. The P is for preparing for love or positioning. And the S is for stepping forward or steering. And today's episode is going to be focused on grounding. Again, if we're not grounded, we don't know who we are. We can't really function well. And how are we going to have a successful dating journey and or another relationship? So today's episode is called Resetting Your Identity. And we're going to talk about a few different ways that you can do that. We're not starting from scratch when we get divorced. Some people are like, oh gosh, I'm back to square one. No, actually, you're not. You have a lot more life experience. You have, maybe you're a mom. So you have experience as a parent. You're a different person, and you're a different age than you were when you got married to your ex. So you're not the same person. You're not going to be making decisions moving forward that were the ones that led you to the decisions you made in the past. Because again, you're a different person, but who are you, right? And how do you figure that out? So that's what we're going to talk about. I will give you some questions at the end of the episode today that you can do some journal writing about and really think about and reflect. And also you'll be able to get a freebie from my website. And that freebie is going to be a list of these kind of micro questions that you can ask yourself daily or weekly, maybe weekly, and just check in with yourself. And we'll get to those. So again, you aren't the woman who chose your ex. You are a different woman today. And one who doesn't have to be in survival mode anymore. What I think that when we're overwhelmed going through a divorce and we're thinking about the kids and where you're going to live and how much money you're going to have, and do you have to go back to work if you were a stay-at-home mom? There's so much, and these people don't talk to me anymore because they chose my ex's side, or there's so much to all of it. It's overwhelming, and oftentimes we are very much in that survival mode. So doing the work really helps us kind of shift gears and move toward taking a breath and exhale and settling into, not settling for, but settling into who the new version of you is and will be. So if we think about divorce, it really creates this kind of in the middle stage. You're kind of in limbo. You're not married. You're not settled as a divorced woman yet. So it's like you're in transition, and transitions are really one of the toughest times in our lives. One of the most stressful times when we're going from what's familiar to what's unfamiliar. I remember for me, trying to figure out, well, okay, I knew what it was like to be a wife and a mom of young kids. And now, what does it mean to be a divorced woman? I didn't know what that was like. I didn't have any friends who were divorced. So I had to figure it all out. And I did quite well, actually. But it's almost like we're standing in a hallway, right? So the door behind you is closed shut, like my office door is. And then you're holding the key to what could be all these doors in front of you. You don't know which one you're going to open. You might try opening many of them and the key might not work, or it might work beautifully for some of those doors, but it can be overwhelming. So you are not alone. I often hear from a lot of my clients who are going through divorce, women, that I don't know who I am anymore. Like I feel like I've lost myself along the way. And I think the truth is about identity. It's like it doesn't disappear. It can sometimes get quiet because there's so much noise and chaos and things that demand our attention. But it's not necessarily that you've lost who you are. You've just quieted her down just a little bit. And we're going to invite her to come out screaming maybe and say, hey, this is who I am, world. So at the very least, you don't have to scream, but at the very least, it gives us a chance to find our voice again. So let's talk about a couple of the pieces to figure out who you are today and how you can get there. One of the toughest questions, I think, is who are you when nobody needs you? Who are you when nobody's pulling on you, tugging at you, mommy or honey, or whatever your ex might have called you? Who are you when you're not at work? Who are you when even you're not with your friends, but when you are with yourself? Who shows up? Is she funny? Is she kind? Is she generous? Is she thoughtful? Is she wise? Is she scared? Like really just tapping into, and there's no right or wrong answer. It's just figuring out who am I? What do you enjoy? You could ask yourself. For me, I think I've shared before that I literally found my voice by taking singing lessons, and now I sing out in public, and that has been so corrective and healing for me. And so I invite you to find your joy in whatever that is. I don't care if you take, bowling lessons or tango lessons, or it doesn't matter what. It just has to be something. And it's something that makes you feel alive, something that excites you. It's not just like, I'm going to check off a box. Okay, I wanted to travel to this part of the country, so I did. Didn't really enjoy it. No, it's not, I wanted to, take a course in how to put up a ceiling fan by myself. That doesn't bring me joy, or maybe it does. I don't know. But my point being that we have to find the thing that really excites us, that really lights us up. And when we do, that's you screaming, yes, this is me. So you'll notice that and you'll do more and more of that. You'll ask yourself also maybe what feels good in your body? What makes you feel, again, alive, kind, positive, calm. Calm, that's the word. What gives me energy instead of draining my energy? So if you feel like you're always giving to other people and that makes you feel more alive and more energized, power to you. But if you feel like you're always giving and giving and giving and not getting back in return, not necessarily from people, but from an experience, it may be time to reevaluate. So identity is often revealed, again, by what lights you up, but not what you're obligated to do. When we're talking about divorce and identity, it's important that we realize who we are now, learning things about ourselves that we may not have known before. I think divorce can be, it's a way that kind of like breaks us open, and then we get to see all the parts inside. And we might not have wanted to look at that in the past. We might not have wanted to acknowledge those parts in the past, or maybe we didn't have time, or we were too sleep deprived. But now, maybe as your kids get older, if you're a mom, as you have more time alone, if the kids are, every other weekend with dad or whatever the schedule, there is time to pause and to reflect on all the data that you've gathered about yourself over the years. I mean, we could sit here and talk about our exes all day long and bash them all day long. It's not going to do any good for anybody, because you have no control over your ex and how they acted, how they act now. but you have total control over you and your response to them. So I want you to stay focused as much as possible on you. Divorce gives us, again, a lot of data. Sometimes I'll say to couples in my office, if, let's say, the wife wants the marriage to work and the husband doesn't, and he's just saying, nope, I'm not willing to make any changes, I'll look at the wife and I'll say, well, that's valuable information for you to have. So at the very least, as part of a research project, basically, as part of, gathering data, we can then decide what we want to do with it. So what data have you gathered about yourself in this whole divorce journey? Did you see yourself losing sleep, freaking out, reacting, going back and name calling, or being vindictive? Or, I've heard some interesting stories over the years, like what maybe dirty little trick did you do to get back at your spouse? Maybe, whoops, I, happened to, I don't know, take the buttons off his shirt and he had to go to an important job interview the next day. Whoops. I'm not saying those things are right, but what I'm saying is they are opportunities to learn about who you are and, and how we act when we're in pain. So taking a look at the data that you've collected, what you probably learned is what your boundaries are and what they're not, what you're willing to tolerate, what you're not willing to tolerate, what you need to feel safe, what your nervous system, and like I talked a lot about how our nervous system is the one that makes the decisions in the last episode, but how our our nervous system really responds to stress and crisis and change. And you've probably also learned and are learning now what kind of partnership really best supports your growth. And those are important things for you to know about you as you reset your identity. It's like hitting that reset button. Is it Staples that has that little reset or start button? I don't know, something like that, or do-over button. But you have a do-over here. You can redo the rest of your life. And how cool it is to go through the rest of your life with a better sense of yourself. So taking notes and maybe, jotting down any questions you might have as we go through this episode, feel free to email me, Stacey with an E, Stacey, at staceyrose.com. You can always shoot me an email and I'll be happy to address the questions and keep you anonymous on next episodes. So instead of looking back with shame, I want you to look back at your past choices and behaviors and your marriage with more curiosity. What can I learn from this? Like a detective who's just gathering information. That's all you're doing. Your past self actually has left many clues along the way about who you are, and you can learn from all of them. So who are you becoming? Who are you becoming? You're becoming who you want to be. So what's your vision of who you want to be? When you close your eyes for a moment and you visualize yourself being the best version of yourself that you can be post-divorce, what does she look like? Maybe you want to even give her a name, like Super Stacey or something, or, like Super Sally, or, but something that you can hold on to. And whenever you're feeling doubtful about yourself, you're scared, feeling insecure, overwhelmed, bring out your, inner Wonder Woman, if you will, and let her help you. Because I feel like we all have those different parts of ourselves, the insecure part that gets scared, sad, overwhelmed, and the part that is a, forgive my French, fucking powerhouse. Girls, you've got this. Ladies, you have got this. You really do. So I want you to start visualizing who you want to become. And what values are you stepping into in order to do that? One of the exciting things, I think, too, is that now that you're not in that dysfunctional marriage anymore, or a marriage that became dysfunctional that ended, the possibilities have opened up. So, like, you can do anything. And I want you to ask yourself, what possibilities have opened up since I've left that marriage? Many, I'm sure. Identity reset is really a blend of remembering, reclaiming, and reimagining and putting it all together. So, like I said, I did talk about a lot about our nervous system in the last episode, but real briefly, we often overlook thinking about how our nervous system reacts to major change, major life change, like a divorce, death, and a move, I think are like the three top stressors. At least they were last time I checked. And it can really impact our nervous system. So your identity is actually very much tied to your nervous system. And if your nervous system is still reacting like it's in survival mode, fight or flight, you need to let your nervous system know, like, girl, it's okay. You can breathe now. You are safe now. It is over. You've survived it. And you get to enjoy your life moving forward. So what do you want to do with the rest of your life? Who do you want to be when you grow up, right? These are all like fun questions. So I think these grounding practices are really important to do to help us come back to the here and now and get a real more clear picture of who we are and what really is possible in this new life. Do you want a relationship? Do you want to just date? Do you want to get married again? Do you want a new career? So if you have your journal nearby, I'm going to ask you to maybe make 3 columns on a page. The first column is who I no longer am. That I am no longer the woman who had no voice. I am no longer the woman who is living as a people pleaser. I am no longer the woman who takes verbal abuse and thinks that that's okay. No more. Mm-mm. And those are examples. But who am I? I am no longer willing to be her. And you put all those traits or behaviors in that one category, that one column. The second column, who am I right now? Well, like I said, I'm kind of like, I see the door closed behind me. I know I have many doors that are in front of me. I just don't know which one I want to walk through. And I'll figure it out. So I'm in between right now, maybe, or I'm scared right now, or I'm excited right now. But write down all the feelings and the traits, the characteristics that would describe who you are right now. And then the third column is who I am becoming. So you've got who I no longer am, who I am right now, who I am becoming. And you can go back and look at this over and over again, because I think it's a great reminder to see like, oh, I no longer tolerate X, Y, and Z. I'm not yet where I want to be, but I'm happy that I'm no longer tolerating X, Y, and Z. And I'm actually okay with being right here, right now. Maybe I've taken up golf lessons or meditation or pickleball, and I've met some nice friends, and I'm actually finding myself laughing more often. How cool is that? So I guess the final question of those 3 columns, who I no longer am, who am I right now, who am I becoming, is, and just write freely, like don't censor it, don't edit it, don't worry about your spelling, grammar, or anything. Just ask yourself this final question, which is, what does the next version of me need in order to fully emerge, in order to fully bloom, to blossom? She needs maybe that Wonder Woman inside saying, girl, you've got this, and let me be that for you. On the other side of this, like over 10 years out, 14 years actually, I know you've got this. I've seen clients go through it feeling like there's no way I'm going to get through this, and they come out so much happier. I personally have experienced that. I've seen friends go through that too. There's no reason why you can't, especially if you've got this navigational system in place. The grounding, the positioning, and the steering of your life so that you're going on this journey with other women that have walked this path before too. You're not creating it on your own. So if the next version of yourself needs, in order to fully show up, maybe she needs rest. Maybe she needs to take a break and not start dating. Maybe she needs to find her voice or better boundaries. Maybe she needs more support, a therapist or a group or friends or family. And maybe sometimes I find that one of the best things we can do is to just give ourselves permission. permission to just be where we are, feel what we feel. So maybe that's all you need. Like permission to be right now, and then permission to go for it when you feel like going for it. So those are some things that you can jot down in your journal and take some notes about, and we can certainly talk more about. I want you to remember this is your life right here and right now. It's your story. These are your rules. You take it at your own pace, not mine, not your friends, not your mother's, not your therapist's, your pace. And you write the rules. It's you becoming this best version of yourself. So I want to share the journal prompt. Let this journal prompt with you. I'll leave this with you. Be this last final question, which is, again, what does that future self of me, what does she need in order to show up? And I think probably we could all benefit from a combination of rest, support, permission, and new experiences, a little dose of courage. So again, questions, comments, or anything that you want to share with me, Stacey with an E, Stacey at staceyrose.com. I look forward to seeing you again soon, and happy dating in the post-divorce world, and happy resetting your identity. I know you can. Take care. Thanks for hanging out with me on Divorced Women Dating. Dating after divorce is definitely an adventure, and honestly, it is way more fun when we do it together. Hit subscribe so you don't miss a single moment of the helpful, hopeful, or just really relatable episodes. See you soon.